Hello and welcome to the Net Report podcast. Today we're going to be covering up some NBA injury news. We're going to kind of start with the bombshell that came out this morning from woes that Karl-Anthony Towns has a left meniscus tear, and it's kind of up in the air right now what the future is going to hold for him. They're still kind of evaluating the injury and what the timetable is going to be. In general, things like this range in between 4 to 8 weeks for recovery. And I'm just going to throw it right over to you, Chris, as far as what this means for the Wolves.
Yeah, this is a tough blow for the Wolves. They're in a dogfight right now for, honestly, I would even say the top 4 seed. I mean, you have the Clippers 3 games out of Denver, OKC, and Minnesota. As of right now, they're tied at 43-19 with the OKC Thunder for that 1 seed. And losing your second best player is always going to hurt you in a tight race like that. And more importantly, because at this point, without Towns, your seeding's not going to matter as much because you're going to fall a bit, but you might be without him the first round. And if you end up drawing like a Lakers or like a Phoenix first round, that's scary. That is very, very scary. And it sucks in the sense that we finally had a healthy year of Karl Towns, Rudy Gobert. Anthony Edwards has looked amazing. This team honestly just defensively and just overall has looked amazing, and without their second best player now, they have a real chance at getting bounced out in the first round, especially if he's not healthy or ready to go, and it just really sucks for Minnesota.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is kind of a giant question mark right now. We really don't know, but it's a meniscus tear. It's not like he's going to be back next week. That would be quite shocking after the initial reporting. If he is out the just basic 4 weeks, he'll just miss the regular season, plus some ramp-up time. We'll see. If it is 6 to 8 weeks, there's a real shot he misses, if not part of the first round, the entirety of a first round. And for a team that already has a lot of question marks going into the playoffs, that's not what this team needed, to lose one of their big 3 veterans on this team. And as far as regular season implications, I mean, they're in a dogfight for the top 4. They're tied for the 1 seed right now. They own the tiebreaker over the Thunder. They're only a game ahead of the Nuggets, only 2.5 ahead of the Clippers. They won't fall below the 4 seed, but seeding for them specifically is going to matter, like immensely matter. If they don't have Towns, let's hypothetically say they don't have Towns for a first round series against the Lakers or Warriors, all bets are off. I'm sorry.
It can get scary.
There's even with Towns, I would have said who knows, but without Towns, that becomes a whole different ball game. Especially with me already questioning what we're gonna see from Gobert in the playoffs. This meniscus injury for Cat it's bad, and it sucks for this Minnesota team that has done everything they were supposed to in the regular season, but the reality of the playoffs and the finals and all this is it very often is who can be the healthiest team throughout the playoffs and through the season. Injuries are a part of the game, though. You hate to see it from these top-end teams that have just been dominating all season. And when you lose a key cog player like that, it kind of throws all your rhythm and motion out of whack for the entire team. We'll see how they bounce back tonight. They have the Pacers on the road. It just sucks. You hate seeing anyone get injured. You hate seeing a big-name player like this get injured on a high-profile team as far as how they've been performing all season. So right now, we're kind of just waiting to see the severity of it, and we just kind of have to hope that, just for good basketball, that he only misses the regular season. But it's an unfortunate part of the business. We'll move on to just a couple other injuries. We're going to stay in the Western Conference and head over to Los Angeles, where just last week, Russell Westbrook fractured his hand. Thankfully, it is his non-shooting hand. It is his dominant hand, just his non-shooting one, so that should help ease the recovery process. But in all honesty, he's expected to miss about a month. I don't expect to see him back for the regular season. I'm not really too sure at this time if he will be back for the first round of the playoffs. It's less consequential for the Clippers than Towns is for the Wolves, but he's a key guy off their bench, and it's not like Russell Westbrook is some scrub. He's been really good for that Clippers team off the bench. He can kind of do it all: defend, pass, rebound, sometimes shoot. But we'll see how this Clippers team reacts. They're, like I said earlier, fighting for a top 4 seed right now.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, not as consequential, but it does suck to lose Westbrook for an extended period of time, most likely most of, if not the whole regular season, and then you gotta factor in ramp-up time, but I will say the Clippers at least do have some depth at that guard position where I think they will be able to kind of right the ship without him. They've got Terrence Mann, who's shown he can step up at times. You have Norman Powell, so this is a team that, despite being top heavy with guys like James Harden, Paul George, they still have some depth there, so I think they'll be okay. You definitely want Westbrook back for that playoff run, though.
100% you do. We'll see for them if this is the worst injury the Clippers get for the rest of the season plus playoffs.
That's a win for them.
It is an absolute win for them. We'll stay in the Western Conference still. A minor little injury, but consequential for what it means. Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker has an ankle injury. Sounds like it's a very minor injury. Should only keep him out for, at max, it seems like an additional week. Why it matters so much for the Suns, they need to stay out of the play-in as much as possible. Only half a game out of it right now, but they are kind of gaining some separation between them, that they're currently the 6th seed, and the 8th seed where the Mavericks are. Only half game between them and the 7th seed, the Kings, but all it takes is for 2-3 game losing streak. They really can't afford to lose their best defender in Devin Booker, so they just need to hope they can kind of cruise along for this next week while Devin Booker gets healthy, and hopefully they can stay above that play-in line.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this Western Conference race, especially at the bottom, is so tightly packed, especially 10 through, honestly, 5. The difference of 4 games during this week period can be the difference between the 4th and the 8th seed, which obviously is the difference between play-in and not being in the play-in. And with a team like the Suns, who have been battling injuries all year, you want that secure top 6 spot in the playoffs, so you don't have to play any extra games and just go from there, because this Suns team's had it rough this year, and obviously adding this Devin Booker injury is not going to help them, especially seeding wise, where they've been struggling all year.
Yeah, it will most certainly not help them in any way, shape, or form, so they just kind of need to hope they can right the wrong these next couple games. They very famously have the hardest remaining schedule in the entire NBA going forward, and even the games that he's expected to miss seem to have a very easy game tonight, with the Raptors coming into town, but then Celtics, slightly undermanned Cavs, which we'll get into in a second, Celtics again, Hornets, Bucks, Sixers. If he misses half those games, I expect them to lose 2 or 3 of them. If he misses all those games, I expect them to lose about 4 of them at minimum. So hope that they can get Devin Booker as fast as possible, because they need to do everything in God's name to stay above that play-in line, because for a team that lacks depth, you're not going to survive if you have to play those 1 to 2 extra games in the play-in. It's just, you're gonna deplete KD, Beal, and Booker come playoff time if you have to play 1 to 2 extra games unnecessarily.
Most certainly. You want to do everything you can to avoid that play-in.
We'll swing over to the Eastern Conference, however. Cleveland Cavaliers are, between them and the Knicks, they're battling for who can stay least healthy right now. Donovan Mitchell had a plasma injection into one of his platelets. Should only keep him out another 2 to 3 games, it seems like. He's already missed 1 to 2 games, I want to say. And then Evan Mobley, who's kind of coming into his own finally, has an ankle sprain. He suffered the other night against their surprising win against the Celtics. And the initial reporting is extended to lengthy period of time for this injury. And that is awful, awful, awful for them. Because, I mean, the reality is, outside of Jared Allen, I don't love their big depth. It's kind of the two of them. And with Mobley out, that kind of throws a wrench into it. And they're currently in a battle for the 2 seed with the Bucks. I'm going to go out and I'll live and say they're going to lose that battle, and the Bucks are going to take the 2 seed. And so seeding right here doesn't necessarily matter. Mitchell will be back soon enough. Mobley, however, we don't really know if you can get him back by playoffs. Happy, happy, joy, joy. If not, they're not long for the playoffs.
And like you said, they're in that battle for the 2 seed. These injuries, unfortunately, very well, I'm going to go on a limb and say they are going to be the difference between the 2 and the 3 seed, which in a way may not be as consequential as one thinks, because you're not falling to the 4 seed where you have to play Boston in the first round or in the second round if you advance, but it's still consequential. And I would even argue, it's not guaranteed that they have that 3 seed either. I mean, you have the Magic that are 3.5 games behind them right now, and they very famously have the easiest or one of the easiest schedules remaining. I mean, we haven't seen, I mean, the Knicks have kind of been tailoring off. I don't know if I see a Miami Heat late season surge to nab it up, so my money would say, okay, they probably have the 3rd seed wrapped up, but it's definitely not a guarantee, and injuries like this can be the difference between things like that, so it could mean something in the long run.
It definitely could, but for right now, we're going to deal with what we've been given. Let's just hope they can get them both back as soon as possible, to be very honest with you. We'll stay in the East, head over to the also struggling New York Knicks, who are dealing with a slew of injuries. Jalen Brunson tweaked his knee the other night. Thankfully, MRI has shown that it was clean. It looked scary coming in when he came out of the game, but MRI clean. He was back at practice today, but I expect him to probably miss another couple of games. And this is a team that had the 4 seed locked up pretty cleanly, and over the past couple of weeks with injuries of, I mean, Robinson's injury happened months ago, but Julius Randle and OG Anunoby, now Jalen Brunson, they're a very understaffed team, only a game above the play-in line. Oh man, the Knicks are struggling out there. If they can't get healthy come playoff time, it's going to be sad, because I think if they can be fully healthy, same with the Clippers in the West, they're two of the scarier kind of dark horse teams in each of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks here, they of course dodge a bullet in the sense that Brunson is gonna be, okay in a couple games. It looked a lot worse in game, like you said. He'll be back in a few games. That's great for the Knicks, because wow, if Brunson was out any extended period of time, you might be looking at the 7th or 8th seed, like almost guaranteed. And I mean, the sky's been falling for New York over the past month and a half, I would honestly say. It sucked because they really looked like a dark horse, like you said, but at least getting Brunson back, I anticipate Anunoby coming back in the next little while. He shouldn't be too much longer injury-wise. Maybe they can start to ramp it up.
Update on Julius Randle. Maybe sometime we will.
But they got to start ramping it up soon. And I mean, getting Brunson back at least helps that to some extent. But man, I feel for this Knicks team, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. At least positive news in that aspect.
Silver lining. Yeah, silver lining to that. And I just want to tag on one last thing. Tyrese Maxey suffered a concussion. He's already missed 2 games. The Sixers have lost both those games. He's also projected to be out tonight as well. Why that's significant? Because, and I know this will surprise you, Joel Embiid has also not been playing for quite some time, and with neither of these guys playing, 76ers have now dropped into the play-in, currently the 7th seed, half a game behind Miami. Tyrese Maxey is going to miss another game tonight, so you're kind of depending on Cam Payne and Kyle Lowry to secure that guard position for you. And they're taking on the Pelicans tonight, the Knicks twice in the next couple days. So, I mean, I don't really know what timetable there is for Maxey's concussion. Those kind of things are very fluid generally, tend to be 1 to 2 weeks depending on the severity of it. The 76ers really can't afford to lose any more games. Like, their best scenario outside of obviously getting Embiid back healthy is to, like I said before, for other teams who are kind of hobbled like the Suns, they need to play as few games as possible. So 76ers being in the play-in is the most unideal thing for them possible.
Yeah, and it's for the 76ers, it's looking like that's going to be really your only way in at this point. I don't see a way, like, even with Tyrese Maxey, of them overtaking Orlando, Miami, New York. It's going to be tough, and now you're just adding fuel to that fire. It just doesn't seem like it's the 76ers year. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
I agree. All these Eastern teams, man, they're all just so battered. It seems like right now the only teams that are like healthy, like fully, are the Celtics and Magic. Even Chris Middleton's been out for like off and on for the Bucks. Cavs obviously dealing with crazy stuff. Both Knicks and Sixers. I'll say it now, I forgot to mention it. Josh Richardson out for the season for them. That's a big body guard they're not going to have. I mean, they signed Patty Mills, but not to disrespect his name, but come on. That's a big combo guard that they're now going to be out for the playoffs for the Heat. I mean, obviously the Sixers are dealing with crazy stuff. It's
It's crazy. I mean, it's that late. It's every season though. Unfortunately, it's always that late season surge of injuries, and it's a lot of times it's not who's the best team; it's who can survive the longest. And this is just showing that in numbers.
Yeah. But we obviously hope for a speedy recovery for all these players. Which of these injuries do you guys think is the most consequential for their team? Please let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. If you're looking to find us each individually, my name is Jacob. You can find me on X at Jacob with a K, Kelly USF. I'm the long-lost son of James Young, the Celtics NBA All-Star. This is my co-host.
Yeah, my name is Chris. You can find me on Twitter/X at C_Rod223. Like Jacob said, if you enjoy this type of content, hit that like and subscribe button and check out some more of our videos. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great one.